Breaking news. The Supreme Court of the United States has just upheld the TikTok ban, but that doesn't necessarily mean that TikTok will be banned. Let me explain exactly what's happening between now and the time President Donald Trump puts his hand on the Bible and swears that oath of office to become the 47th president of the United States of America. First of all, this is what just happened moments ago.
The Supreme Court upholds the law that was passed by Congress in a bipartisan manner, signed into law by Joe Biden last April, to find a new buyer within 270 days. The Supreme Court has now ruled that that law stands. What happens to the app, however, is a wide open question.
And this was a pretty momentous discussion. And in fact, we just heard from President-elect Trump through Truth Social that he spoke to President Xi this morning, of course, the president of China, which owns a TikTok app. And this did come up. We don't know what was discussed, but it did come up. Shannon Bream is our Fox News Sunday anchor and chief legal correspondent. She's been on standby as we waited for this to come out. To me, this makes sense, Shannon. The Congress passed a bipartisan law. The president of the United States signed it. It was going forward. TikTok tried to challenge, and now they have been denied. Your thoughts?
And they've been denied basically because they argued on a First Amendment ruling or a First Amendment basis, but because it's a Chinese company, there's no real constitutional protection for, companies that are in communist China. And that was the big sticking point. The Supreme Court, in a unanimous decision, basically an unsigned decision, said there's nothing going on here. We're not going to be able to overrule this law. So the law stands. A law, again, that Joe Biden signed. However, Joe Biden announced that he will not enforce the TikTok ban. He's not going to enforce this law that he himself signed, which is totally believable because Joe Biden doesn't enforce the laws at the southern border either. It's just like that. Sure, we've got illegal immigrants coming over the border, and sure, there's a law saying that that's against the law, but we're just not going to enforce it. In fact, Joe Biden went a step further and enticed illegal immigrants to come across the border by giving them cell phones and food and health care and sending them wherever they wanted to go. And then when they got there, putting them up in hotels with 3 squares a day. And a lot of them even received Visa gift cards. But I digress. This isn't about illegal immigration and Joe Biden's inability or unwillingness to enforce our immigration and border laws. It's about him now saying he's not going to enforce the TikTok ban. And the interesting thing about this is that Joe Biden will only be president for about 12 hours while the TikTok ban is in effect. Whoever this official is told the AP, President Joe Biden won't enforce a ban on the social media app TikTok that is set to take effect a day before he leaves office on Monday. Congress last year, in a law signed by Biden, required that TikTok's China-based parent company ByteDance divest the company by January 19th. The official spoke on condition of anonymity. Trump, who once called for the ban, has since pledged to keep it available in the U.S., though his transition team has not said how they intend to accomplish that. There's a couple of things that make us believe that Donald Trump is 100% going to pursue some kind of action to keep TikTok in the U.S. Number one is he's a big TikTok user. He loves TikTok. Also, he's rallying with the TikTok CEO at the inauguration. The guy's name is Shuzi Chu. And he's going to be at the inauguration. He's actually going to be at the victory rally that Donald Trump is planning Sunday at Washington at the Capital One Arena. He's going to be at the swearing-in ceremony as well. And the Washington Post reports that he's aligning himself with the incoming commander-in-chief, who has pledged to save the popular app from a ban set to take effect this weekend. As far as President Donald Trump and that conversation with Xi Jinping, Donald Trump literally just posted, "I spoke to Chairman Xi Jinping of China. The call was a very good one for both China and the USA. It is my expectation that we will solve many problems together and starting immediately. We discussed balancing trade, fentanyl, TikTok, and many other subjects. President Xi and I will do everything possible to make the world more peaceful and safe." And if that includes not banning TikTok, then that is a win-win, especially for the multitude of users here in the United States who don't just use it as a social messaging app, who don't just use it to show off their dance moves or prank their friends or say, "Hey, here's my latest makeup tutorial. Get ready with me while I blah, blah, blah." None of that. It's actually, for a lot of businesses and a lot of business owners, a crucial way for them to continue their commercial endeavors and make money. Creators, salespeople, affiliates, a lot of folks are making a lot of money on TikTok, despite the fact that the United States government has now banned it, citing some national security concerns. Basically, the question now is what's going to happen in the 12-hour period between Joe Biden leaving office, the TikTok ban going into effect, and Donald Trump becoming the 47th president of the United States. Let me try to break down for you what's going to happen in a very unique 12-hour period. On January 19th, TikTok is banned, which means, I assume, by 11:59 p.m. on January 19th, TikTok has to go away. This is, of course, on Sunday night. So by the time you go to bed on Sunday night, a lot of folks are thinking TikTok, if it's not gone yet, will be gone at 11:59. And then on January 20th, we know that Donald Trump, who's a big, firm believer in TikTok and has pledged to help TikTok, Trump will take the oath. Trump takes oath of office. He'll become the 47th president of the United States. He will race to the White House, and he will start doing everything in his power to make America great again. So you've got 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, and you've got 12 o'clock p.m. on Monday. In between this there's a 12-hour period in between here where we don't know what's going to happen. And the onus as to what happens with TikTok lies with two people. First of all, it's the companies that host the TikTok app. That's Apple, that's Google, and that's Oracle. Oracle servers are used here in the United States for TikTok. And then, of course, Apple's App Store and Google Play, the App Store, they're the ones that host the TikTok app. Technically, according to the law, they are supposed to get rid of TikTok. They're supposed to remove the app from its store and not allow anyone to download it or update it. However, Joe Biden has claimed that he's not going to uphold the law. Are Apple and Google going to chance that Joe Biden is a man of his word and he's not going to enforce the law and ban them fine them? Because right now, if any new user downloads the TikTok app while it's banned, if any new user updates the TikTok app while it's banned on an American company's servers, then they will be fined $5,000 per user. And with 150 million users in the country, that's a lot of cheddar. That's a lot of cash they're going to be scraping up for fines, and they're not going to want to do that. But if they take Joe Biden at his word that he will not enforce the TikTok ban, and if they pray that Donald Trump on the first day of office will do something, anything at all he can to save TikTok, then they may just ignore the law. They may leave the app up, and then we're just going to have to wait and see. The second thing is that TikTok itself has already said if this ban is not struck down by the Supreme Court, if the United States does not give us more time to fight this, then what we're going to do is we are going to just take ourselves out of the equation and we are going to remove our app from our servers ourselves. We're just going to basically go dark. And at the moment, that threat seems to be most likely what's going to happen. Why? Well, because TikTok knows that the best way to get the attention of lawmakers is to have every single teenager in the United States of America complain to their parents that they can't get on TikTok. So you've got this 12-hour period, and we're not really sure what's going to happen in between. But in this 12-hour period, if TikTok stays on the App Store and you use it, you could potentially be a social media outlaw, which is kind of cool. Like I said, the Supreme Court upheld the ban. Joe Biden says he's not going to enforce it. Donald Trump becomes president on Monday, and we're just going to have to wait and see what the future of TikTok holds in store. But know this, if TikTok is saved, if ByteDance divests, if they're allowed to stay here in the United States of America, you're going to see a lot more TikToks from the 47th president of the United States of America, as well as this guy right here. If you enjoyed any part of this video, do you and me a favor. Make sure you like, subscribe, and set those notifications. We've got more content coming your way all the time, and you don't want to miss any of it. Like, subscribe, hit those notifications right now.